On number 19, you're asked to graph the square root function and also state the domain, so don't forget that domain right there. For both of these, we're just going to type this into our y equals, so clear out anything you have in your y equals. So to do a square root, the square root's in blue above x squared, so you have to hit second x squared. And then as long as you're under the square root, you just keep typing. If you need to get out of it, you have to hit the right arrow key to get out of the square root symbol. So our x minus 3 is all under the square root, so I don't ever have to hit the right arrow. And remember, that's a subtraction since there's something in front you're subtracting from. Now we're going to look at our table by hitting second graph. You'll notice that there are several values of x that give you an error message, and if I keep going that, they're all going to be error messages. So what we want to see is what's the first value of x that I don't get an error message for, and that's when x equals 3. Any value for x that's less than 3 gives me an error message. And the reason for that is if I put a 2 in for x, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And remember, we can't take the square root of a negative right now in our math career. In Algebra 2 we can, but at this point we can't. So the first value of x that we can find the square root of is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Well, I can take the square root of 0. It's just 0. And then any positive number above 3, 4, for instance, 4 minus 3 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. So as long as x is 3 or bigger, I can find the square root of this function. So remember, domain is your x values. You're saying what values of x work. Well, x works if it's 3 or bigger. So we would write that as x is greater than or equal to 3. Now to graph it, that's the very first point of the function that works, 3, 0. So I'm going to go over 3 and not up or down since the y is 0. So there's the point 3, 0. And then I'm going to graph as many points as will fit on my graph. So 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1 fits. The next one that's not a decimal is 7, 2, and it's a little off my graph. I'll go ahead and graph it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up 2 is somewhere around right here. So this is kind of a small graph, but it's somewhere right there. So now I can graph that function by starting at the first point, 3, 0, and going through the other two, which it keeps going that way, so that's where our arrow goes. It doesn't go over here because remember, we don't have any points before the point 3, 0. It's our very first point.